Good evening. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. We are very much pleased to welcome you all to this next generation learning tools, a 2 week certification program from 8th June to 20th June of 2020 for Light Workers Academy. A short gist about our college. Savita Engineering College started in the year 2001 by Savita Medical and Educational Trust is headed by Dr. N.M. Veerayan, a committed and dedicated medical professional. Savita Engineering College, an autonomous institution, is committed to offer nothing less than the best to all our students. We make the students' job ready to face the competitive world by proving industry standard curriculum that imparts the 21st century skills required for the learners to be the best, which is the motto of our college. The saying less is more perfectly fits us as we train students to reach greater heights in life. With that note, I wish to express my gratitude to our department head and associate dean, Dr. Srijita S. Nath, for her continuous encouragement in bringing this certification course in a short span of time. I wish to express my sincere welcome to the idea man behind this wonderful event, Dr. S. Karunakaran, Professor, ECE Department. By the way, myself, Sri Priya, Priya and Joel wish to claim the proud of coordinating this program. On behalf of Savita Engineering College Management, Principal, HOD, and my fellow faculty members, I welcome all the participants. I'm feeling extremely honored to stand in front of you all in welcoming everyone to this online Next Generation Learning Tools 2 week certification program from 8th June to 20th June. Never stop learning because life never stops teaching. Let us proceed on to the details of resource person by Miss Padma Priya. Before that, the course objectives are course Google Classroom, Google Forms, PowerPoint for animation, video creation tools, video calling tools, and other online tools. Priya, the session is over to you.
Thank you, Shipriya ma'am. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the speakers of today's session. Dr. S. Karunakaran has completed his research in the area of real estate design. He has 20 years of teaching experience. He is the recipient of Outstanding Professor Award, International Engineering Educator Award, Chief Minister's Award for Excellence in E-Governance. He is a certified educator of IUCW, IIEECP, and he is the certified mentor in City and Guilds University, London. He has developed around 54 projects, out of which 12 are implemented in real time industries. He has developed lab equipments for EC department, animal experimental lab kits, wired and wireless nursing station automation, motion-based light automation, automatic tap control hand wash projects. There are many more awards adding to his credit. Mr. Joel Isaac has a teaching experience of 8 years. His research interests are in the area of power quality. He is a certified educator in IUCW, International Engineering Educator Certification Program. His teaching philosophy statement is that content soon forgotten was never truly learned. His principle is to draw students into the process of learning by creating an atmosphere where active participatory role and regulatory collaborative tasks are involved. He has published many papers too. I hand over the session to Dr. S. Karunakaran, Professor of EC Department. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, I welcome you all to this wonderful FDP for next 2 weeks. I have few participants to be admitted. Thank you. Okay. So, let us start. So, I have, before going into the topic, my first session is going to be about Google Classroom and how effectively we can use this Google Classroom to make it an interactive classroom, not beyond this physical distancing, right? So we have a physical distancing right now. Though it is virtual, we should make the students to feel that they are inside the classroom along with the teacher. So we should make it more interactive. So this is the aim of this FDP, to make this learning an interesting method through online mode. Okay, so my first question is going to be asked through your Google Classroom. So I think you have been registered into the Google Classroom. So shall we go to the Google Classroom? We have a question there. So we have a question posted for you in the Google Classroom. You'll get it live right now. Have you received? So my first question is, are you happy with this online mode of education? So you'll be receiving this question right now, and I wish to see your responses now. I hope you might not have logged into the classroom, since you have logged into the Google Meet. So please enter into the Google Classroom also into another tab. So using that tab, you can answer it in the Google Classroom right now, live. So 3 people have answered yes. So the total number of people assigned is 30. Is this screen visible for everyone? Padmapriya ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is visible, but kindly move it to slideshow.
Okay, now this Google Classroom is visible?
No, sir.
No?
It's the presentation visible right now.
Presentation is visible, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So let me share that screen. Yes, now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So 11
Yeah.
has turned in. Out of 33 students, we have 33 students, and among that 33, one is my personal mail ID. So remaining 32 students will be there. Out of 32 students, 11 has entered the answer. In that 11, 12 out of 12, 8 has entered yes, and 2 has entered no, and 2 maybe. So this is just an example to make you realize that you can make the students to answer the questions live during your session itself. So you can post a question, make them attend during your live session. Okay. So let's go back to our okay, so now we will go back to our presentation again. So that was just an example to make you realize that this type of questions can be asked live, like a poll question, and make the students interact with you rather than asking them to raise their hands or unmute themselves, which will make a confusion during your classrooms, because most of the students might not understand how to unmute, or they may be entering through mobile phones. Some may be using laptops, where these options will be in a different position. So all these mismatches will happen. So you can ask them to enter there. Okay, so this was the introduction. That's all. Okay, so now coming to our topic. So this 2 weeks FDP is going to be based on the next generation learning technologies. Okay, so what are the next generation learning technologies? So this is going to be only online. Virtual mode of classrooms is the next generation. So hereafter, we might have schools which runs only virtually. So do you know the difference between a Ola cab? So the Ola cab doesn't have cars of their own. They don't purchase cars and they have for their own. They just rent the cars which are already purchased by someone else with a driver, right? So they pay for them, like Uber. So similarly, hereafter classrooms will be there only virtually. You will not have buildings where students will come and sit there in front of you. You cannot have a physical uh, interaction with them. So this is going to be your next set of education. So this is a paradigm shift which we are going to see in our education system. So for this, we have two different types of techniques that can be used for handling these students in virtual mode. So one set is the first die, which is term is the platform through which we are going to communicate with the students with the documents. So where you are going to store the documents, where you are going to make the students to post their questions, post their assignments, attend the quiz, attend the test. So all this where you are going to comment them, where you are going to provide them materials. So that is the virtual platform. So Google Classroom is a virtual platform which we are right now using since it is a free version. So similarly, we have LMS, Moodle, and Canvas. So these are other examples where you can provide a classroom, virtual classroom platforms. Okay, so the second dice is about the virtual mode of video mode and the simulation mode. So virtual labs is the simulation model where you can make the students to simulate and test how those experiments will work. This is an initiative of MHRD and it is from IIT Bombay. So they have provided more number of labs for basic electronics, electrical, computer science, engineering, basically engineering department. We have other sites where they are providing basic science experiments for school students also. Okay, so that is about virtual labs, and YouTube, OBS are the platform through which you can connect directly to the students live.
Sir, once again, sir.
Through videos, you can create videos, you can provide them video lecture, make them attend to the lecture before coming to the classroom, which they will feel as if they are attending your class directly. Okay, so to make that feel good type of classrooms, you can use this OBS and YouTube methods. So this is going to be our course content for the next 2 weeks. So starting from today, it is about Google Classroom. You will have an assignment which has to be posted before tomorrow, midnight 11:59. So next day, the schedule will be logged at 11:59 p.m. Okay, and Google Forms will be the next class, and assignment will be posted on that day. PowerPoint for animation and video creation tools. Other than PowerPoint, you have other video creation tools, very simple tools, which can be used for creating videos with interactions. Then video calling tools, which we are using right now, like Zoom and Google Meet. You have other tools also, like Cisco WebEx, Microsoft Teams. So all the other tools, other online tools are to make fun while learning. So the students should feel happy while learning, right? So learn with fun is should be the motto of every teacher and every school. So if the student feels fun, happy to learn, they will enjoy learning rather than doing other activities. Okay, so these are the other online tools which can make a better interaction with the students, make them feel good while learning. Okay, so that is the other online tools, and with that assignment we'll close our session. So this is for next 2 weeks which you are going to see. So let us enter into the Google Classroom, and I'm very happy with this Lightworkers Academy, as every teacher has created their own classroom, added the students, they are providing materials, they are posting announcements. So this Google Classroom is an essential tool for the present era, and this is one of the tools. Okay, so Google Classroom is not the only tool, only platform where you can connect with the students. There are multiple other tools, but since this is directly connected with the Google, if you have a Gmail account, it is enough for you to create your own Google Classroom. So that is the advantage of this Google Classroom. So let us see the overview. Google Classroom is a free web service to streamline the process of sharing files between teachers and students. So you can post materials, you can post questions, you can ask the students to post their answers, you can ask them MCQs, they can scan their documents and post it as an answer, creating, distributing, and grading assignments. So this is what we are going to concentrate today, because all the other things most of you might have analyzed already, and right now they are doing it. So I'm very happy that every department faculty is learning it on their own, but still we will give you extra tricks and tips to make it a better platform. Okay, so teachers can track the students' performance, and it is simple to set up a paperless classroom. So this saves lots of money for, in the management perspective, but still this is making paperless classroom, which saves lots of trees to be cut down. Okay, so that also helps our environment, and this tool helps to boost collaboration and foster better communication. Okay, so how does it provide better communication? So without seeing the students, we cannot have a better communication, right? So that is why we have merged both right now. So we can view the students through your Google Meet. You can make the students work uh, right now in front of you in the Google Classroom. That's why I gave that example as the first.
கிளாஸ் முடிய 6:45 ஆகும். நீங்க தான் கிளம்புங்க. என்ன இருங்க 6 o'clock ஆகும்.
Joel sir,
ம்.
mute பண்ணிக்கோங்க.
எனக்கு வெயிட் பண்ணி டைம் வேஸ்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க.
Well,
Okay, so in this you have already created a classroom, you know that, and the steps. So let me tell the steps in which we have to go. This is the first step. You have to add people, where you have to add teachers and students. So right now I can find every classroom has a teacher and students who are going to attend that based on the sections, right? But still you can add parallel teachers with you to help you. So let us see that in the live demo session. And then second session is the stream, where you can create schedule announcements and posts. So right now you might have seen you cannot post anything in the Google Classroom that I have created, because I have changed the response. Okay, so only the teachers can post and comment. Now the students cannot post or comment. Okay, previously it was students can comment. So if I post a announcement, you can comment on that announcement, but you cannot separately post any content. Okay, so these options are available in the stream, where you can restrict the unnecessary information being posted by the students. Okay, this is similar to your WhatsApp account. So in a WhatsApp group, you can change that account, group account, into admins only. So admins only can post the information in a WhatsApp group. Similarly, you can change it here also in the Google Classroom. Okay, so the third one is the classwork, where you can add topics. You might have seen in our next gen learning tools classroom, we have added all the topics, including the introduction session and the exit survey. So intro survey to exit survey. So right now I have scheduled the intro survey at 4:30 p.m. So it might have been opened right now. It would have shown there, and where you can post assignments, quiz, questions, materials. So you should know the difference between posting an assignment, posting a quiz, posting questions, and posting materials. So these are the topics present under the classwork create. Okay, so you have these symbols on the top: Google Meet, Google Calendar, Drive folder. So you should know what are the uses of them, how to use it better, utilize better, right? And the last one is about the grades. So this is the last column, but this is the most important column in the school teachers' point of view. Okay, as well as students' point of view. So whatever we do is to analyze what students have understood. Okay, what they have learned from our teaching. So what do you teach? To whom do we teach? How do you analyze how I have been a good teacher? So all these analysis can be done only based upon the gradings that my student obtains from my teaching, right? So all this can be done only with the help of these rubrics and criteria. Okay, so that session will be handled by Mr. Joel today. So the remaining things I'll show you. So remaining things I'll show you in the classroom, Google Classroom. Okay, so right now we are going to the classroom. I'll go to the initial stage. So as soon as you log in, you can see this. This is the home page of your Google Classroom. If you have already created classes, you can see those classes here, available here. you can click these 3 dots. You can edit the titles or make it archive. So most of you don't know may not know that what is the use of this archive. After completing a class, this is mostly useful for college students, UG graduates, because we study these subjects every semester. So if a student is studying a particular subject called microprocessor in 5th semester, I'm not going to use this class, same subject, in this during the 6th semester. So next semester I'm not using this. So this should not be available for others to use, right? So I can make it active so that others cannot be used. Others cannot use this, but students will be there, materials will be there, everything will be there. You cannot edit it. That is the use of this archive. Okay. After that, again, during the next art sem, I can reuse it back. Okay. I can remove it from the archive and bring it back and use it here for the next art semester. Okay. So that is the advantage of this archive. Now, by clicking this, you can create a class or join a class. People know all this, right? Directly going into this. This is the topics that I have told you. First set, what you have to do is the people. The second one is the streams. Third one is the classwork. Okay. So in this, this theme also can be decided by the faculty. So I have selected a theme. Since we are learning next generation tools and it is in the hands of teachers, I have put this picture, upload a picture. You can select your own theme, and here you will have a class code and meet link. So which will not change. This meet link will not change, which will remain constant for every class. Okay, and these are I have posted. So these are the questions that I have posted for you, and right now it is available. See, I can see few people. 3 people have attended the Google Classroom assignment. So this assignment, you can take it even right now or later. And this intro survey, 4 people have attended. You can manage all this here. And that initial question that I posted for live interaction, 18 people have turned in. Okay, so I can analyze this here, or else, and I can go to settings. I'll show you that first. In the general settings, so this is where I controlled. See, in the stream, I have selected only teachers can post or comment. So students cannot post or comment for any content. Okay, so initially students can post and comment. So any student can post any information there. Even their assignment, if they do not know where to post, they may directly post it there. Okay, so which will have an option of adding a file, right? So that should not be permitted for the students. So you can have it as students can only comment, or else you can have it in the mode of only teachers can post or comment. Okay, so this avoids lots of information being posted by the comments posted by the students. So this is what I wanted to show you here. Okay, so going back. So let us go to the people. In people, I have added teachers. So all our team members, myself, Karunakaran, next Mr. Joel, Mr. Padmapriya, and Sri Priya. So these are my teachers. And I give you one tip here. For example, every year, teacher will be shifted to other section, right? Class teacher will be changed to other section. If that teacher is being changed to other section, what happens to this class? So does the next teacher who enters into that classroom, for example, my daughter is studying 7th A, right? So next year she will go to 8th A, but the class teacher might change. For same mathematics, teacher will change, right? So when that teacher changes for 8th A, the set of students will remain almost same. If it is 30 students, mostly 25 students will be the same, right? So you need not delete this classroom and create new classroom. You can just click here and make the new teacher as a class owner. Okay, so make a class owner. If you make this new teacher as a class owner, the whole content which you have already created, your materials, your questions, everything can be reused. Your rubrics, everything can be reused again for the next year for the same set of students. Or maybe if you change this class to the next 7th standard A section class teacher, that teacher can use this same materials and same questions again. Okay. So you can do either way. Either for the students you can use it again, or for that particular subject you can reuse it again. Okay, so there is the use of this. Make it as a class owner, and you can add this kind of faculty to help you out while handling a class. For example, in our engineering institution, we'll have a supporting faculty for every laboratory session. Okay, so practical session, we'll have 2 faculties parallelly helping the students. So it will be helpful for those kind of sessions. When two people are there, they can help you out in grading, giving the marks, adding the questions. So if they are also the teachers added here, okay, and these things, you have added the students, so you can invite them via the email, or you can ask them to join via the code, okay, and we can remove the student. You can contact an individual student by clicking that student and email to the student. If you want to make any other action, you can select the student, you can email here. For a group of students, you have to do this. You can select 2 or 3 students, and then you can mail them directly. Okay, if 5 students have not submitted the assignment, you have to intimate to them, or regarding fees to those particular parents alone, you can do this. So you can avoid sending restricted information to all the students. Okay, so this is how you can send a mail. If you want to remove a student or mute a student, if you mute a student, that student cannot post or respond in your streams. Okay, so these are the other features available in your student section in people. Okay, so then in the classwork, as you have seen, so this was our first question. Now, right now, I can see 20 students, 20 participants have turned in, and out of those 20 participants, 12 have given yes, 5 no, 3 maybe. Okay, still 14 to enter. And this is the intro survey. So I have scheduled the timing till 4:45 p.m. So if it is 4:45, then you cannot enter it after that. But still, if you enter, it will show me who have entered late. Okay, so late submission. And these are the topics, and the schedule for all the topics will be shown there. But they cannot edit. In the student's point of view, you cannot edit it. Okay. So for that purpose, if you have doubts whether this will be editable by a student or not, you can add your mail ID as your one of the students. See, for example, here, I have added myself, karunakaransekar@gmail.com. This is my personal mail ID. I have used my official mail ID for creating this classroom. So I have added Karunakaransekar, my personal mail ID, as a student, because if I have a doubt, I can enter into that login. Through that login, as a student, I can come and see whether it is visible for the students, it is enabled or not. All the issues for a student can be analyzed by yourself by doing this. Okay. So this is about class. You can add the topics by clicking this create. So in this you can add assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, reuse, and topic. So when you create a topic, the topic will be created and it will ask you where to place that. So that is the position where you have to place. For example, let me create a topic called introduction. So I have created a topic. Now let me edit this. So this topic can be brought into any other subtopics, any other content. So where you have to place it after the intro survey or into my Google Classroom. So after my Google Classroom, this will be the topic that I have to cover. So you can place it according to your position that you expect, and there you can add your assignments. So assignments or questions. So here the difference between assignment and quiz assignment is, assignment is meant for uploading a document as such. for example, a Word document or a written document, assignments written by the students can be scanned and PDFs can be uploaded. So for that purpose, we will have this assignment, and quiz assignment is to generate a MCQ quiz. So these contents will be covered tomorrow using Google Forms. But still, I am giving an intro alone. And then this question was the question which I use right now for you. So you can have a live session. For example, yeah, I'm asking you right now. Hi, am I audible to all? Okay, and I'm giving a short answer or a multiple choice question. I'm giving only multiple choice question. Short answer means they can type their own content. I'm giving only two options, yes and no. And right now I'm clicking ask. So you'll get all these questions right now in your screens. So it has been posted. You can also have it as a draft. So if you create questions, if you have planned for the next class, if you have planned, you can add the questions and put it in a draft. So during the class session, you need not type this. You can just open that and post it. Okay. So this is for live interaction. That is use of this question. Okay, during your Google Meet, you can ask these questions live in your Google Classroom. Okay, so this material is for adding a material, adding a document material or a video material or a link. Any type of content to be provided to students can be added through this material. Okay, and reuse post is when you have created something. If you have to duplicate that content, use is reuse. Okay. So this is about classwork and streams. I have already told you, you can post or you can avoid students from posting comments or allow students only to comment. Okay. So right now I have posted a question even which is being answered by seven people right now. Okay. All the seven have said yes, it is all audible. Okay. And also you can see who has answered, who has not answered. Okay, so all the seven answered are here. Okay, so Faiza, Raj Bharat, Christy, Smita, Babu, Robita, Roslyn, Shanti. So all these participants have answered. So 8 have turned in. So you can see this live immediately when the students are answering, who has answered, who has not answered. And I have forgotten to ungrade it. So it is an ungraded question. So to make it ungraded, it will just tell you whether they have answered or not. Who has not answered will be displayed at the bottom. Okay, so this is how you can see their reactions and interactions, whether they are live with you or not. See, even this was my first question. See, for this question, I can see how many people have answered and how many people have not answered. That was our first question, right? So these are the people, those who have not answered for our first intro question. Are you happy with this online mode of education? Okay. So why I'm telling this is I'm not blaming these people, those who have not answered, because in the student's point of view, there are students who might just log into their mobile, mute their video, mute their audio, keep the mobile and leave. Maybe they will do some other work. Okay, so you can find whether they are active or not by asking this kind of questions in between. Okay, so you can immediately identify how many of them are listening to you actively. Okay, so that is the use of this. If it is ungraded, you can see whether they have posted or not. If it is graded, for example, let me change it as 10 points. So you can update this here itself. When you make it as graded, I can grade here and then I can tell them you are right or wrong. Okay. So return means it will return the mark to the student. So the student will get the marks. Okay. Or else you can enter everyone's mark after seeing their mark, after seeing their answer. You can enter the mark here. I'm giving just an example. Okay. For the next student, Christy ma'am, Coach Gadinge. I'm giving just an example with the different values. Okay, so after this, when I click return, it will return all the marks. If you want to return that particular student's mark alone, you can return it here. Okay, so these are the advantages of this. So I'm not sending this. Shall I send this? you'll get the results. Okay. So if you want to give a comment, you can comment there. What is the reason for that particular mark or why they have got less mark? You can comment there and then return. Okay. I'm not doing it now. Okay. So this is about your people, classwork, stream, and how it can be utilized in a better way to handle students live. Okay. So about grades, I'm going back to the slides. So Joel sir, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm ready with the tool.
Yes, sir. So,
Shall I take the session over?
yes, sir. So now it is about grades and rubrics, which I have not covered. So I hand over the session to Mr. Joel.
Hi, good evening, one and all. I welcome one and all for this great session on next generation tools. At this point, I have to make a note to Dr. Karnagaran, sir. It is not a next generation tool, it is this generation tool. So everyone is the basic thing which this generation teachers and students should be aware of is all these things.
Sir, actually,
we have to.
why we have mentioned the next generation is this is used for the next generation students. Okay.
Oh,
Next generation
it is used for millennial students. Okay, very good, sir. That's nice. And let me continue with the part which is played by Karnagaran, sir. In my part, I am going to explain about the grading and the rubrics. Some people or the teachers would have heard this word rubric. Those who know about this, very good. But I'm going to explain what is rubric for the one who doesn't know this. In education terminology, rubric means a scoring guide. Note it down. It means a scoring guide used to evaluate the quality of students. It is a scoring guide used to evaluate the quality of students and the constructed responses from the students. It is also a criteria. It is a set of criteria for grading the assignments. Rubric usually contain evaluation criteria. First one is the evaluation criteria. It has quality definitions for those criteria at particular levels of achievement and the scoring strategy. It has evaluation criteria, quality definitions for those criteria and a scoring strategy. And there should be a need for a rubric, right? We have grading. We know what is grading. In our periods, we don't know what is rubric. We know only the gradings. The main purpose of rubric is to assess the performance. While we give some questions to the students, we might not even know what are the questions posted by the students with reference to the answer they've given. They will ask hundreds of questions when we grade the answers given by the students. That type of answers or the questions should not be posted by the students. So we are going to send the students a rubric such that questions will be answered before they start the test. So to clear the doubts involved in the answering mode, we are going to set the rubrics, which is also used to evaluate the quality of students. There are around 3 or 4 types of rubrics. One is the analytic type. Analytic type is nothing but each criteria is evaluated separately. And there is holistic type also. Holistic type is all criteria is evaluated simultaneously. Simultaneously, if we evaluate, that is called holistic. And general type we use. General type is description of a work which gives the characteristics that apply to a whole task. If the criteria is applied to all the task of a general question, that is called general criteria. And someone uses task specific rubric also, but usually it is not in use. We use task specific. If there is a task given to an engineer, it is actually used in industries. If the task is given
for project,
for a particular, not a project, not for the whole project, it is for a particular task which is given in a project, which is called task specific rubric. To understand and coordination, the instruction and the assessment will be given in terms of rubrics. So this is all about the introduction of rubric. With this introduction, I guess you understand, and let me go to the next slide, please, sir. Yes, I'll explain how to add a rubric to the assignment which is added already, or we can add that rubric at the time when we create the assignment. Sir, let me go to the Google Classroom and show them how to create this rubric.
Yeah.
Let us get into the assignment which we have created already, which will be useful, easy and easy for them to understand. We have created one assignment, right? In the classroom, we have created Google Classroom assessment under Google Classroom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Click on to that. I have created the rubric already. Let us create another rubric and show them how to create the rubric and what is the use of it.
Okay.
This is the rubric which is created already. This Google Classroom assessment, as you all know, you have to upload a material and you have to give an assignment related to that material. Actually, here sir has posted that we have to upload 2 materials. So I have created this rubric for that particular assignment. I will explain one by one. How the student should understand is, if they upload all the 2 materials and they have posted the assignment, I mean you are going to do that as a student. You are good. Yeah, you are the student.
Okay.
Yeah, you are going to be a participant and you are going to create a new classroom where you are going to be a teacher. So you are going to post 2 materials and an assignment. We treat you as a student. So if you post 2 materials and an assignment, we will provide you 10 points.
10 points.
That is the first rubric criterion. And the second one is, if 1 material is posted instead of 2, we'll give 7 points. If no material is posted and assignment alone is posted, then we'll give 5 points. If 2 materials are posted and assignment is not given or posted, it is taken as 4 points. And only 1 material is posted and no assignment is given, it is 2 points. And nothing is posted, will give you 0 points. This is the rubric which we are going to define for the first criteria. We have 2 things, 2 assignments to be done. First part is material uploading and assignment part, where we have created this criteria. On seeing this, you will understand that is, while writing the test itself, a student will know how much mark he will get. For that only, we are clearly defining the rubric. If you have uploaded 2 materials and an assignment for your students, then you will get 10 marks or 10 points. That is what it is defining. This clear picture of how much mark you will get is understand during the exam itself, then it is clearly defined. That is, the rubrics is clearly defined. And the second part is the grading and rubrics. We are defining a rubric for the rubric assignment which is given for you. You should understand like this. We are going to define a rubric for the rubric assignment which is given for you. So first point is, if you graded with the rubric, then we'll give 10 points. If you grade without rubric, if you are aware of that, without rubric also you can grade it directly on the grade points, and also in the final grades you can override it. So without rubric, if you grade it, then you will get 7.5 points. And if you grade and you have done with rubrics, but you have not returned to the student, you know what is returning to the student. If you grade it, there will be an option called return at the right top corner. If you add the extra pop-up, or it will be at the left top corner if you do it on the same page itself. And if you don't return it, you will get 5 points. And the fourth one is graded without rubric and not returned, you will get 2.5 points. And created rubric alone, you will get 1.5 points. And if you're not done anything, you'll get 0 points. This is the rubric statement which you have created. And we can add other more criterion to this. Sir, please click edit on the top. We have 3 dots now. I can edit that. This is what the scene will be. This pop-up will show you like this. We can add a new criteria by clicking add criterion at the bottom end. Yes. Now we can add any more criterion that you have. If the single task or the test have 5 or 6 levels of criterion, then we can add 5 levels of criterion. And the thing is, all these to be added. Sir, go up, sir, please. As you all know, this assignment Google Classroom assignment carries only 20 marks. So the first rubric carries 10 marks and the second criterion rubric carries 10 marks. So the total 20 should be matched so that your rubric is clearly defined. If not, you are not clear with the rubric. First, the teacher should be clear with the rubric, how much mark is going to be provided to the student for the particular task and what is the level of criteria you're going to define. Then only it will be easy for you to define it in the Google Classroom. For this, a teacher has to be technically strong. That is the main point you have to understand in the background. If you are not clear with the question, if you are taking the question at the last minute, then you will not be able to define the rubric at any point of time. Then the student will question you after you grade the papers. After that, you will have to be answerable for that. This is all about the rubrics. We can go to the next slide, sir. You can close it.
Shall I delete
this? Please delete this, sir. Yeah, we can click this 3 points and we can 3 dots and we can duplicate it, and you can also delete this criterion. I can move the criteria up and down also. We have 3 different options in this pop-up, and we can delete it. Yes.
Sir, ஒரு ரிக்வெஸ்ட், இது இன்னொரு தடவை தமிழ்ல சொன்னீங்கன்னா நல்லா இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன் சார். பிகாஸ் நம்ம இந்த அசைன்மெண்ட் அவங்க பண்ற அசைன்மெண்ட்டுக்கும் அவங்க அசைன்மெண்ட்டுக்கு கிரேட் பண்றோன்றதுக்கும் கன்ஃபியூஷன் இருக்கும்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன்.
Oh, okay. Let me explain it in Tamil also. I guess all know Tamil, right? All are Tamil people. I personally சொல்ல போறேன்னா, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நம்மளோட கொஸ்டின், நம்ம கொடுக்க போற ஒரே கொஸ்டினுக்கு 2 பார்ட் இருக்கான்னு தெரியணும். அப்படின்னா 2 கிரைட்டீரியா டிஃபைன் பண்ணணும். ஓகேவா? அதை ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டிசைட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. நாங்க உங்களுக்கு கொடுத்த அசைன்மெண்ட்ல 2 பார்ட் இருக்கு. ஒன்னு வந்து மெட்டீரியல் அப்லோட் பண்ணணும், அசைன்மெண்ட்டை போஸ்ட் பண்ணணும். இதுதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்ட். ஸோ அதுக்கு எப்படி ரூப்ரிக் கொடுத்துருக்கோம்னா, 2 மெட்டீரியல் அண்ட் ஒரு அசைன்மெண்ட் பையனுக்கு போஸ்ட் பண்ணி பையன் வரைக்கும் வியூ ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா, ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கு வியூ ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா, தென் வில் கிவ் 10 பாயிண்ட்ஸ். இப்படிதான் நீங்களும் ரூப்ரிக் டிசைன் பண்ணணும். ஓகே, இந்த அசைன்மெண்ட்டுக்கு நாங்க கொடுத்துருக்கிற பாயிண்ட் 10 பாயிண்ட், 2 மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் அண்ட் அன் அசைன்மெண்ட்டுக்கு. அதே மாதிரி ஒரு மெட்டீரியல் கம்மியா போஸ்ட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா 7 பாயிண்ட்ஸ். லைக்வைஸ் நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா தெரியும், மெட்டீரியலே போஸ்ட் பண்ணலாம், வில் கிவ் 0. நோ மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் அண்ட் நோ அசைன்மெண்ட்ஸ்னா 0. லைக்வைஸ் இந்த செகண்ட் பார்ட் ஆஃப் உங்க கொஸ்டின்ல என்ன இருக்குன்னா, கிரேட் பண்ணணும் பையன். நீங்க கொடுத்த டெஸ்ட் அட்டென்ட் பண்ணிட்டான்னு அர்த்தம். அட்டென்ட் பண்ண உடனே சப்மிட் கொடுத்தோடனே நமக்கு வந்து டர்ன்ட் இன் வரும். அந்த டர்ன்ட் இன்ல நீங்க கிரேட் பண்ணணும். அந்த கிரேட் எப்படி பண்ணணும்னா, ரூப்ரிக்கை வச்சு பண்ணணும். அப்படின்னா ஃபர்ஸ்டே நீங்க ரூப்ரிக்கை கிரியேட் பண்ணிருக்கணும் அசைன்மெண்ட்ல. அதை ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கணும். ரூப்ரிக் கிரியேட் பண்ணதை வச்சு நீங்க கிரேட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா யூ வில் கெட் 10 பாயிண்ட்ஸ். ரூப்ரிக் இல்லாம சும்மா கிரேட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா 7.5 பாயிண்ட்ஸ். சரி, ரூப்ரிக் வச்சு கிரேட் பண்ணிட்டீங்க, ஆனா ரிட்டர்ன் ஆப்ஷனை கிளிக் பண்ணாம விட்டீங்கன்னா 5 பாயிண்ட்ஸ். இதெல்லாம் நாங்க ஈஸியா செக் பண்ணிடுவோம். அண்ட் தென் லைக்வைஸ் 1.5 பாயிண்ட்ஸ் எப்படின்னா, ரூப்ரிக் கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டீங்க ஆனா கிரேடே பண்ணலன்னா யூல் கெட் 1.5. ரூப்ரிக்கும் கிரியேட் பண்ணல, கிரேடும் பண்ணலன்னா யூல் கெட் 0 பாயிண்ட்ஸ். This is what we have defined the rubric for your particular assignment. And since we have only 2 parts, 2 பார்ட் இருக்கிறதுனால நாங்க 2 கிரைட்டீரியா டிஃபைன் பண்ணிருக்கோம். உங்க கொஸ்டின்ல 3 பார்ட் இருக்குன்னா ஒரு ஆட் கிரைட்டீரியான் கொடுத்து நீங்க 3 பாயிண்ட் கூட எடுத்துக்கலாம். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், நம்ம ஒரு சயின்ஸ் டீச்சரா இருக்கிறோம்னா, நம்ம ஸ்கூல்ல வந்து ஏதோ ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கொடுக்கும்போது எக்ஸசியா போலை பத்தி எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண சொன்னா, டயக்ராமுக்கு 3 மார்க்ஸ், டயக்ராம்ல 10 பார்ட்ஸை மார்க் பண்ணியிருந்தா அதுக்கு ஃபுல் 3 மார்க்ஸ் கொடுத்துருவோம். 5 பார்ட்ஸ் மட்டும் மார்க் பண்ணியிருந்தா நான் வந்து அதுல அவுட் ஆஃப் 3 1 தான் கொடுப்பேன் அப்படின்னு நீங்க டிஃபைன் பண்ணிக்கணும். ஃபார் டயக்ராம் எக்ஸ்பிளனேஷனுக்கு தனியா ஒரு 3 மார்க்ஸ், அதுக்கு பிறகு கீழே வந்து அதோட இன்ஃபரன்ஸோ ஏதோ ஒன்று. இஃப் யூ ஆட் then you'll get comparison ஏதாவது போட்டா then you'll get other 4 marks ன்னு சொல்லி நீங்க பிரிக்கிறீங்களா, அதுதான் கிரைட்டீரியான்னு சொல்றோம். This is what is rubric. இதை கிளியரா டிஃபைன் பண்ணிட்டீங்கன்னா, ஆஃப்டர் கிரேடிங் no student will question you about his marks. This is what the rubric is used for. And top most left cornerல பாத்தீங்கன்னா use scoring அப்படின்னு ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்கும். அது வந்து obviously by default it will be on only. எங்கேயாவது ஒரு இடத்துல ஆஃப் பண்ணி வச்சிட்டீங்கன்னா you have to turn it on, then only this grade will be taken. Like rubric நீங்க பண்ற grade will be taken into the grade option. Google Classroom final grades it will be added. If you don't add that option or if you switch it off, then it will not be taken into account. So on பண்ணிருக்கான்னு check பண்ணிக்கோங்க. That is after adding it, on the right top corner you have the save button. You have to click it. So this rubric will be added to that particular assignment. You have to be very clear. This rubric is for the particular assignment, not for all the things. I mean, all the assignments will not be added, but it will be saved at the background. The same thing, I mean, same rubric under this name can be used for any other assignment also. Take it as an assignment or take it as a homework to do that. Okay, this is all about rubrics. For grading, we'll go to grading. First, there are two types of grading. One is quiz grading and another one is your assignment, document assignment grading. First one is your quiz grading. I mean, Google Classroom assessment. We have given a document assessment grading where you have to, sorry, first we have given only Google Forms, right, sir?
Yes. Google Form la create பண்ணி கொடுத்திருக்கோம்.
Yes. If you create a documentary assignment, then people, for the student point of view, they will get it as a question where they have to upload a file, or they can write it there, or it can type it there itself. They will get any type of option they can do. They can upload a file, they can upload a video into a YouTube and give the link there, or they can do anything like that. After that, we will get it as turned in. As a faculty teacher, you will get it as turned in. And in that turned in, sir, go to that page, please. Click that assignment. Assignment click on, sir. When you click the assignment, you will get it as view assignment. Forms club, sir. Okay, back to it. Yeah, this is the page you will get when you create an assignment and click on that. This is the new pop-up where on the left side you will have three things. One is all students. Next one is the turned in option. Turned in the sense the student has done the assignment and it has came to you. Okay. And we have last one is assigned. Assigned option is the thing which you have assigned for the students, but students have not taken. And there will be another one thing. After the due date is over, if the student has not completed, it will show as missing. In the assigned column, it will show as missing. But the only disadvantage or the drawback of Google Classroom is you cannot stop the students to submit the assignment even after due date. But in Moodle, Canvas and Edmodo and all, we can stop them from submitting the assignment after due date. But here, Google has not updated that. And there are lakhs of mails for updating this particular stopping thing to Google. Google has replied to that forum that you will update it soon. So that it will show as missing after the due date. Oh, after assigned, once we click on Ronnie, sir, please click on Ronnie, sir, and Ronnie D. Turned in is nothing but the student has submitted. So this student has particularly submitted the assignment. So we can grade using that. When we click material and assignment posted, please click on that, sir. You don't want to grade here, click on we get as a teacher, we will get all these things. If the student has completed well and good, 2 materials and 1 assignment posted, we can click on that. Please click on the first one, sir, 10 points. Yes, when we click here itself, the grade will be done for her. Okay. And the next one, please go down, sir. For gradings and rubrics, please go down, sir. For gradings and rubrics, she has not graded and she has not taken the assignment also. Then click the last one, sir, 0 point. So it will be added as 0. Once all these rubrics have been added, go up. You can click. It is all done, right, sir? Yeah. Everything is done. Then in this view, we have to click return on the left top corner. Left top corner, ensure that only this student is selected on the left side and then click return. Yes, sir, that's it. Click on return, then the grade will be going to the student that you have been graded. And the student will not question you because the rubric is well defined by you. Okay, you can also add a comment that you have not submitted or graded. Such that you can also enable them to submit it again, because as a teacher we want the students to do it and get it done. So we just want to We just allow them to do it. Even we allow the students to do it again because they might have some network problem or anything like when we go into the online classroom. So we allow the students to do it again. So they will do it again. It will be termed as resubmitted for us. Once we get this resubmitted, we will put the marks for them. We'll assign the marks for them, but we cannot assign less marks for them here in the rubrics because we have defined the rubrics already. So once we do it again and again, we will get a view idea that we have to add a rubric for late submission also. So now we will not get that idea, but if time passes by, we'll add a rubric at the last that if 2 materials and 1 assignment is posted at late, we'll get 8 points. We have to add that rubric also. If not, no worries. Here you can submit the rubric and settle down. After returning it to the student will see the mark as 10, but we can change the grades at the last since you have submitted late. Instead of 10, you can make it as 8, not here, but at the last. I'll show you where to change it. So just go out to the classroom environment, sir. Yes. Yes, you can go there and show. Yeah, this is another classroom we have created. In the grades, click on the grades, sir. Yeah, we have 140 participants for the last program we have done. So we are showing that results. This is the results they've got. We have conducted around 8 or 9 assignments, and out of which 5 are quiz assignments and 4 are around 3 or 4, I think. I guess it is 3 document assignments. All these things are graded, and here, since we have not created any late submission rubric, we can change the grades here at the final grades. This will be taken into account, and if you want to import those grades here, you have to enable that grade importing. If not, those grades will not be coming here at the last session. So please ensure that you have enabled that grade importing. And the quiz assignment will be explained in the next session, I guess. This is what about rubrics and assignments, sir. Thank you. I hand over the session to Dr. Karunaran, sir, again. Please take over the session, sir.
Joel, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please explain that student progress report, whatever, the same page, in the asset page, you can explain the same, right? Student progress report.
Students progress report, yeah. Actually, we have to add an add-ins to it. Then only we can see that add-ins, student progress report in a chart. Here we can see only the grades when we don't have any add-ins. This is the basic version of your Google Classroom. We have to add some 10 or 12 add-ins. We'll explain that student progress report after add-ins. Sir is going to explain add-ins, I think. After explaining it, if time permits, we'll add that content to the next module, okay, and explain you. Here we can see only the percentage and the marks which all the students, 30 students are here, means we can see all the 30 students performance here. But if you have to add some bar charts or something like performance analysis has to be done, then we have to add in something, add into the Google Classroom. Not with the basic version we can do. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session. Great learning for us. So coming back to our presentation. So this is what we have learned. So you can track the students' progress from that last sheet where you can see their total percentage for every student and every topic, every assignment, what they have performed, whether they have submitted or not submitted, submitted late, missing, how much they have scored. All this can be tracked with that one grade page. Okay, so to make it better, only we are explaining about the rubrics. So if we have a rubrics, a student need not come and ask you why I have got 5 marks for 15 marks question, why I have got 1 mark for 2 mark question. So all these will be clear from the faculty point of view, so that students will never have a doubt. They can see the rubrics and they can understand, okay, I should write 2 points for this. I have written only 1 point, so I have got 5 marks instead of 10 marks. So that is the necessity of creating a rubrics, so that the faculty cannot show partiality at all. Okay. And coming to our next end of the session. So these are the interesting add-ons and extensions that can be added, and all these are free extension available in Google. So you can go to this chrome.google.com/web store, which will take you to the extension portion of the Google site. So it belongs to Google, official Google site, where you have an extension, you have a search button. So in that search button, you can use these terms to search, and you can use the add-ons. So let me tell you this simple examples, and we can also see that live how it is used. Okay, so the first example is the grid view. I think most of you might have added this. If you add this grid view in your Google Chrome, when you go into Google Meet, you can see all the students at the same page, in the same page. Okay, let me show all these in the live session. Okay, so let me stop this. Let me share that directly instead of talking theoretically. So I am sharing my Google Meet window directly. Is it visible for you, my Google Meet window?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you can see all the participants here. So I have totally 35 people present here. All the 35 people can be viewed here. So this is the use of this grid view. So I have enabled this Google Meet grid view, which can make me to see all the participants here in a single screen. Totally around 200 participants can be seen in this single view. Okay, so that is the use of this add-on, and all these are the add-ons that I have added. Okay, along with my Google Chrome. So extensions that I have added. So the first one is the grid view, and second one is the nod reactions. So nod reactions is the extension that can be added to make the students to respond without unmuting them. So if you ask a question, whether did you understand, or suddenly if you want to ask Padma Priya ma'am, are you available? Did you understand? Did you listen? So they can press this. You can see that at the bottom. Is it visible for you at the bottom? I have raised a hand. Karnakaran raised their hand. Is it visible? Joel, is it visible for you?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Yeah. And
left
other emojis also are available to show their emotions instead of unmuting and making it a chaos, right? So all these are the emojis that can respond to you immediately to make you realize the students are available for you, they are attending. Okay, so and next one is about Meet attendance. So this is about Google Meet attendance. When I click this, I can enable the Google attendance. So you can see a click mark here. Is it visible here? So on the right hand side, you can see a tick mark and 32. So it means 32 students are participating. Out of 35, 32 students are there, and the remaining teachers are available. So you can download it as a Google spreadsheet, or you want to create a new sheet for every meeting, you can use this. Okay, to turn it on and off, you can use these buttons. Okay, and instead of this, if you want to have it in a Google sheet, you can have this, or if you want to record only when all the students are available. I do not know when I was presenting how many people went out of this meeting and whether they came back or not. So when I see maximum number of students available here, I can click this next one, Meet Attendance Collector. So at the beginning and at the end, if I want to take attendance at the beginning and at the end, I can click this Google Meet Attendance Collector. When I click this, it will show me and ask me to download. So 33 members are available here. When I download, I'll get a download Excel sheet where I'll have all these names of the participants who have attended. So I can download this twice or whenever I need. At the beginning of my class, in between during my class session, or at the end of the class, I can download any number of times with the number of participants available. In between, if I find the very least number of participants available, everyone has left the meeting. If you want to know who are attending and who has left, I can immediately click this and download this. Okay, so this will be the use of this Meet Attendance Collector. So this is Meet Attendance. So you can take this and store it in a Google spreadsheet. Here it is the Attendance Collector. You can collect whenever you want. Okay, and next one is Slides Timer, which you can use it when you are using a PowerPoint slide. And in that slide, if you are having a countdown, if you need a countdown to be displayed to the students, I'm asking you to draw the structure of a heart. So let me give you 5 minutes. I want everyone to draw within 5 minutes and show me or scan it and upload. So if I do that, I can run a timer here, which will run on their screen, on every student's screen. Okay, and this is about Google Translate. So suppose if you are taking them browsing to a new page, so how to browse to a new page? That is a other issue, right? So when you want to browse to a other page, you have to use this. In presenting, when you are presenting, you'll have an option of present a window or present entire screen. Okay, so when you click present a window, you can have two windows. So right now I have two windows, which is one is about this classroom, the other is about our Google Meet. I have another window where I am working in my Gmail is open there, and my WhatsApp web is opened there. So those pages will not be displayed. Okay, so this window alone is shared now. So this window alone will be visible for you. In the other window, I can play parallelly. When you want to display both these windows, or if you want to see the students simultaneously and you have to present simultaneously, you can use this add-on called as dual less. Dual less means it will split. Is it visible for you here? So it will split into 3:7 ratio, 4:6 ratio, 5:5. 5:5 means 50-50. So you can have two equal screens where one screen will show you the Google Meet. You can see all the students, whether they are attentive or not. And in the other half, you can browse or you can have a presentation and you can take. So you will have both the views at the same time. So that is use of this dual less extension. Okay, so like that, when you go for another web page, if that web page has any other language, if you want that to be converted to the students, you can use this Google Translate. So in any page it will work. So these are the extensions which will work in any Google Forms, in any Google apps. Okay, in the browser. So these are available there for that. And next one is Google Input Tools. And I have seen some of our faculties, teaching faculties have used this. For example, our Tamil teacher have used this, I think, Google Inputs. So using this Google Inputs, you can directly type in that particular language. For example, you can select a language where what you want: Tamil, Hindi, French. So any other language which is available in this input tools list, you can use that tool and you can directly provide your assignments and contents, posts, announcements, everything using that language directly in your Google Classroom. Okay. So Tamil teacher can post in Tamil, Hindi teacher can post in Hindi, French teacher can post in French. Okay, so others can use in directly in English, which is rightly available. Okay, that is the use of this Google Input Tools extension. And next one is about speak selection. So in this speak selection, when you click this and select any text, that text will be, if I have any other text. Okay, let me go here. I'm using this Google text. Select. So whichever text I want to convert into voice text, voice message, I can use this tool. After selecting this, if you click this, it will speak. Okay, so you can make the students to listen to those kind of text. You can make a web page, you can make it read automatically. You need not read the text. Right, so that is the use of this speak selection. Next one is Google Dictionary. So this also can be used anywhere while teaching. If you come across a different word where our students gets a doubt, suddenly we might not be aware of that new word or meaning, equivalent meaning for that. You can use this Google Dictionary and select any word like Google Speech. If you select a word, it will immediately show you the equivalent meaning, opposite, all those. Okay, so that is the use of this Google Dictionary. You can access this anywhere for any websites. Okay, and this is the Equatio. So this is one of the most important tool that that can be used or that has to be used by mathematics teachers. Okay, so yeah. So here you'll have periodic tables. You can use scientific calculators, and you can use the symbols. Okay. So this is for mathematics teachers to write any kind of symbols. I have to log in my account. I use a different account. So that is the issue there. Okay, so let me close this. There are So coming back to this, coming back to our page, I can use this anywhere. And the next one is about the push to talk, Google Meet push to talk. So if you ask your students, it is better to ask all the students to install this particular mode extension because they need not unmute and make confusions during the classroom. They can always be in mute mode. Whenever they want to speak, they can press the space bar and speak. If they release the space bar, it will automatically mute. So push to talk, like walkie-talkie. So when you push the button, you can talk, and when you release the button, it will automatically stop. So similarly, you can use this push to talk extension mode, which can avoid unnecessary crosstalks. Okay, and the last one was here dual split mode. And one more thing is about the Jamboard or canvas board. You have another extension called a canvas board or a Jamboard, which can be used as a whiteboard. Okay, so let me stop sharing this and share that. One second. I'm closing that. I'm going to my desktop. Okay, so now let me share this. Okay, so this is canvas. So this screen is visible for you. So I can select any color, and I can use this as a board. So you can use it as a green board or a white board or any other color that you want. You can add layers. So this is the board that I'm using right now. You can change it to any other color if you want a black board or a, then you can use this tools here. So this is the size of the pen that you are going to use. Okay, and the color of the pen that you are going to use, and whether it needs to be like a pencil or a pen or a sketch or a crayon, and this is eraser mode. Okay, so let me use it in sketch mode. So you can draw anything here, and after marking this, you can save it as a separate layer, hide this. If you want two different things to be shown, for example, let me erase this. If you want, you can erase like this, or if you want, you can undo it fully. Okay, so let me do this. So for example, I am putting an arrow mark. Okay, and I want to hide this. Now I'm adding one more layer. So in this layer, I am drawing a house. Now if I want to make both the layers visible, I can do this. Okay, or if I want to move this particular layer separately, I can move it anywhere. Okay, so this will be useful for those who are drawing and explaining any content to the students. So you can explain first content separately, second content separately, and then you can show the relationship between them by making it visible, making both the layers visible here. So if you make it invisible, it will not be visible. That layer will not be invisible, and this layer will not be invisible. So you can teach separately, and then you can merge them and show combine them, and you can explain to the students together. Okay, so this will be a useful tool, which is a whiteboard tool. Okay, so this board canvas. Okay, so this is also available directly in the Google extensions. Okay. Okay. Well, is it presenting anything right now for you?
No, sir. It is not showing. No, sir. No, sir. It is not showing anything.
Okay.
You're trying to show something.
Previously, was that whiteboard visible for you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The presentation is not visible in my presentation mode. Okay, so
Let it be given as assignment, sir. We'll explain it. They will try, sir. Because we have explained more add-ons to it.
yeah, that's what my presentation mode is not working right now.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it has come. Fine. So now going to our session. So these are the emojis and other extensions that we have seen. So whiteboard, duelless, push to talk, Equatio, Google Dictionary, Speak Selection, Google Input Tools, Google Translate, Meet Attendance, Nod emojis, Grid View. All these are the extensions that can be added to make our presentation better to the school students and make it interactive, more interactive. Okay, and coming to the last section, so we have these many platforms. Among these platforms, we are using Google Classroom, which is the easiest way of using, easiest platform to be used. We have Moodle, we have Canvas, which are similar. We have Edmodo, we have many other platforms like this, which are similar to these platforms. Working on them will be almost similar. If you learn to drive a car, you can drive any car, but there will be a difference inside the car. The gear will be present in the front, reverse gear will be present in the front. You have to apply another knob to push it back to apply a reverse gear. All those will be different in different cars, but you know to drive a car, right? Similarly, Google Classroom is based on driving a car. So if you learn this, you can create a class and handle that class in any other platform. If your management is having a separate server, you can go for Moodle, or if they are requiring a third-party app, which is a better app, where you can directly contact your students using that particular app itself with restrictions from external participants, external hacking, all those features, you can go for Canvas. And the major advantage of Canvas is you can add any number of students in the free version. For teachers, it is free. For students, when it is reaching a limit, the management has to pay and add more number of students. But you can have n number of apps that can be connected, third-party apps that can be connected, which is also available in Google Classroom. But most probably it will be feasible with Google platforms, all the Google apps. Okay, and Moodle is also a similar version, but you need a separate server for that to store all your contents. Okay, so Google Classroom is the easiest one, where we can log into our own Gmail account and perform any task using that. We have to add on like this. We have to experiment more, learn more, add on. So only few add-ons I have told you. There are n number of add-ons like this. Okay. So any queries?
Sir, we have queries in the chat box.
Okay, ma'am.
Can we have mute all option in Meet like Zoom?
Mute all, actually you can mute the students when entering. So all you people, when you enter, it was already muted, right? So I have enabled that option. So when you enter, it will be muted. You will unmute yourself, but that cannot be controlled. That has not been changed in the Google platform. You can unmute yourself, whereas in Zoom, the host will have the power of muting or unmuting the participant. Okay, so that option is not available. Better you can use this push to talk option. You can teach this technique to your students. Ask them not to use mute unmute button. Better they can use the space bar button to speak only when you ask them to speak. Okay.
We have the next question, sir. How to record the session?
So in your Google Meet itself, you will have an option at the bottom right corner. You'll have an option called record. In the settings, you'll have 3 dots will be there. When you open, it will show you record in the top.
Sir, for this, I would like to add on. The institute should have a G Suite account for their Gmail account.
Yeah. So if you are having a G Suite account, you can do this because we are using Savita account. We are using our Savita mail ID. Savita has a G Suite. So it is a full suite purchased from Google, through which you can access any Google apps and better facilities than an individual. Okay, so that has this recording option.
There is another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the free version with the free version? Is it not possible to do all these things? Muting.
Muting is just an app, ma'am. That extension.
Okay.
When you do that, it will mute during entry, but every participant can unmute themselves.
Are these options available only for laptops, sir?
No, ma'am, but the feature will differ. These extensions cannot be added to your mobile app, mobile Chrome. Maybe it will be different version because it runs with a lighter coding, right, for your mobile. All the websites that you view, also all the mobile apps that are viewed in laptop and mobile will not be similar. All the features will not be available in both the platforms. Okay, so that
I add a point, sir. I add a point here.
Yes, sir.
Actually, it is easier to add all these add-ons in mobile than the desktop view, but it is in different name as an application there.
Yeah, application. It is a different
we
app.
have to search and find.
Mm.
Yes, we have to search and find. We can integrate that applications to the Google Meet or Google Classroom application. That is easy.
Yeah.
Okay. We have to search for that. That's it.
It will not be added on to the Chrome itself directly like this.
Yes.
Extension.
We cannot
That
add.
is a separate app in mobile.
Yes, sir.
Without G Suite, is recording not possible, sir?
No, ma'am.
No.
Another question. In between participants start, present now option instead of join now. How can we avoid this? Probably the children are doing it unknowingly. Present option.
Okay. For that also you have an add-on, ma'am. If you add that extension, you can avoid that, but that also comes along with the G Suite mode alone.
Even after we leave the meeting, students are still in the classroom. Why?
Maybe this is a bug. Actually, this is a bug. In Zoom, it will not happen. When you host a meeting, when you end the meeting will be ended. Students cannot attend the meeting, right? Whereas in Google, even if you leave the meeting, the next person will be converted into the host, and they will continue the meeting. They can continue the meeting. So
yes, sir. Zoom has two options. Actually, Zoom has two options: leaving meeting for all and leave meeting. If you leave, the next person will be the host. And if you end meeting for all will be ended the meeting for all. But here there is no option.
Sir, we have the next question. How to save password in Google Meet?
How to
save password in Google Meet? Save password.
We don't want to save any password.
We need
I don't have.
Ma'am, we didn't understand your question, ma'am.
Maybe, ma'am, in Zoom we have a password for every meeting, right? We don't have that kind of password for Google Meet.
Oh,
We need only the link, direct link.
okay.
So you cannot restrict. If that link is transferred to anyone, anyone can join your meeting. But
Yes.
we have restricted now that the host can admit. So now as a teacher, I was admitting everyone, each and everyone in the beginning, right? So that can be done.
Yes, sir.
That's all, ma'am. Questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other questions from participant side?
You can unmute yourself and ask the question, right?
Yes.
Shall we complete the assignment portion? Then we can continue if they have doubt.
Please, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, thank you. So let us let me explain the assignment again. So you are the participants. So for us, you are the students, right? So we are giving you an assignment. Your assignment is to create an assessment with rubrics in your already existing class. So all of you are already having a class, handling a class to your students, right? In that class, create one assessment and put rubrics for that. Okay, so whatever we have taught today, you have to do it for your class, creating an assessment with rubrics in an already existing Google Classroom. You can give that class code alone to us in that Google form. We have given the Google Classroom assessment form, right? So 4 people have already attended that. So you should not attend before doing this. So after completing this assignment, you have to attend that. In that, you have to give your classroom code. If you give your Google Classroom code, we can go and see whether you have done it rightly or not, and then we will based on that how you have performed in your class, we can assess you and can grade you. Okay, so post the class code for which you have created the assessment and rubrics in the Google form, that questionnaire which we have created. Okay, so 2 materials and 1 assignment has to be provided, and the marks rubrics has to be graded and returned to the students. So you should you can give basically 1 or 2 questions, try 1 or 2 questions with rubrics, create an assessment, ask the students to attend, and then you can submit it back with that class code. We will assess that and we will put the gradings. And this is the grades for assignment for the whole 2-week session. So the 2-week session is divided into 5 categories. Google Classroom 20 points. So what we have taught today, you have to create this, and this assessment will get you 20 points, and Google Forms will have 20 points. That assignment will be explained in the next class. PowerPoint animation assignment 20 points, video creation tools assignment 20 points, and online tools 20 points. So totally it is for 100 points, and this grade sheet will be provided to you. Consolidated grade sheet will be provided to you at the end. Okay. So let me close my session with this thought. So technology, we might think that technology will replace teachers, that robots are there for teaching. In other foreign countries, we have robots which are used for teaching in schools, for school children. Okay, so technology cannot replace teachers unless and otherwise the teachers who use the technology will replace the teachers who do not. Okay, so if we are using technology, we will be ready to cope up with the next generation students, next generation learning methods, and we will be present. Okay, so those who doesn't learn these online modes will not be present. They cannot exist as a teacher. So this is the end thought, and thank you teachers for being so patient and so supportive